Greetings, everyone. My name is David. I'm inspired to make this video by the Tony Robbins seminar called Unleash the Power Within, and some things that have come up over the course of this 4-day program. But first, before I share some thoughts on that, I wanted to relate a personal story that has some relevance. So I'm a photographer and I'm also a podcaster. Check me out at Portraits in Fitness and Reframing the Narrative. Those are my two podcasts on all major platforms, including Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble. One thing as a photographer and also a podcaster that I've kind of fallen victim to is going into the trap of passive consumption of gadgets and products. Now, as a photographer, that can lead to accumulation of lenses and cameras for photography. As a podcaster, I developed a little bit of a microphone addiction. And speaking of microphones, there's this microphone called the Blue Yeti. It's probably the most popular microphone out there. It's also, to people that know about audio quality and microphones, and yes, there are microphone freaks out there. I was one. It's also probably the most ugly on camera, and it's the worst sounding. It's also confusing to use properly. But that said, some of the best podcasters and content creators out there use a Blue Yeti microphone, and most of them sound just fine. It's a decent tool for the job because content is more important than your tools. And the same thing goes for photography. I use every tool available. I shoot on film. I shoot old cameras, new cameras, plastic cameras, metal cameras, electronic cameras, analog cameras. Doesn't matter. Nobody has ever said, I love that picture, but I wish you had shot that on a Sony or whatever. When we focus on the tools and the products, the process and the inspiration and the ideas can get lost, and we can find ourselves falling into a pattern of consumption rather than production. Getting back to those podcasters and content creators with the Blue Yeti, they have a shitty microphone. It sucks. I wouldn't be caught dead with a Blue Yeti. It's over $100. This is a $40 microphone. It kicks the Blue Yeti's ass. But do those content creators care that I'm criticizing their microphone? No, they've moved on and they've created content that informs, it inspires, and it connects with their listeners and their viewers. They didn't get caught up in needing the perfect microphone. They didn't sit back and say, wait, I'll need to accumulate audio expertise or knowledge until I get started. They got started. They got a microphone. They thought that was all they needed, and they were correct. And they moved on, and they started creating content. It's kind of similar to people who sit around and they say, well, I got to take this course and that course. I got to read this book and that book and accumulate all this book knowledge or course knowledge before I take action. And I'm seeing that kind of response to the Unleashing the Power Within program with Tony Robbins among the participants. And I just want to remind everybody how great this course has been and how great it is, and the fantastic tools that we already have within us and from this course that we can apply immediately. Once we learn priming on day 3, we could wake up on day 4 and apply priming. We can start the day with breathing exercises and priming and practice gratitude and breathing and all those great things. We have the Wheel of Life exercise from day 3. We have the Closing the Gap checklist. I mean, come on, this is great stuff. This is fantastic stuff. We have most of all the transformative process called the Dickens process that we experienced on day 3, which taught us that we are both the problem and the solution, that our beliefs set our limitations, but that we can also look at our limiting beliefs and we can shout, that's bullshit. We can make fun of them. We can go, my limiting belief was, and make fun of our former selves because we're ready to move on to something better and replace those limiting beliefs with empowering beliefs. We already have fantastic tools available to us after attending Tony's entry-level course. And we learned from John Dorenbos and Trent Shelton that gifts can come with very ugly wrapping. We just need to accept them in all forms and be ready to respond and take action. And Joseph McClendon III, what a fantastic presenter and inspiration. He gave us all the powerful concept of, I accept your diagnosis, but I reject your verdict. Such a powerful mantra to take in and make your own. The take home for me is people can give you all sorts of advice, all sorts of criticism. That's their diagnosis. We don't have to accept it. That doesn't have to define who we are. So one thing that comes up over the course of this 4 days is some upselling. And I understand that. I'm sure that the courses that Tony and his team are offering to us, life mastery, business mastery, advanced business mastery, wealth mastery, life, wealth, leadership, and the Leadership Academy, I probably missed a few there. I'm sure they're all fantastic courses and really worthwhile and worth investing the time and the financial outlay to participate in, whether online or live. But I just want to remind everybody that if you are ready to make changes in your life, you're ready to mock the former you and the former belief system that held you back and move on to priming in the morning, to gratitude, towards moving towards your goals, taking massive action now. Unleashing the power within has already showed you the way. So if you're not prepared at this time to invest in one of these advanced courses, just remember that you have the tools given and shared in this course, Unleash the Power Within, and you have those tools within you at all times. You are the problem, but you're also, even more importantly, the solution. Don't forget that you're the solution. Everything comes from within you. You can change your circumstances. And this has been a fabulous transformative course. I'm a photographer, and I found myself questioning in this age of instant social media, selfies, portrait mode on our phones, AI headshots. Does anyone care about photography anymore? Recently, I had a session, just a simple headshot session with a subject, a client whose boss asked her to come to my studio. And I found out that she was nervous about it. It kept her up for days because she didn't want her picture taken. She didn't feel good about herself. And we had a fantastic session together. And I found myself encouraging her and saying, has anyone ever told you that you're photogenic? Because I feel like you're really a wonderful person. The real you came out and you are photogenic. I want you to know that you are photogenic and you are lovely to work with. And I feel like her life could have been changed through that simple headshot session. I know now what my mission is as a photographer. Photography can matter. Whatever you do can matter. Now I have my new approach to photography, and that's what I'm going to communicate to my potential clients and my existing clients. And I feel good about that. And I'm going to take massive action. And it'll start with priming every morning. It'll start with movement and integrating the habits that I know will help me move forward. Despite everything going on in the world, despite all the technology, that I could say, woe is me, it's against me. But this is what I am. I'm a photographer. I'm going to move forward with new purpose in photography. And thanks to UPW, I have the tools to go forward. So don't feel bad that you're not signing up for the advanced courses. I'm sure they're 100%. They're awesome. If you can afford them, plenty of people say they're worth every penny and more. But if you don't have the money or you don't have the time off, it's not for you at this time, or maybe even in the future. Don't feel like you're missing out. We don't need FOMO, and we don't need to fall into the trap of feeling compelled to just buy more courses, buy more products, apply what you've learned, use what you've had, make great content with your shitty microphone, use your earbuds. It doesn't matter. It's been wonderful speaking with you, and always remember to live life with the flash.